Hey, welcome to Beauty and the Dad Bod, episode 3. This one is pretty cool, so stick around and let's have some fun.
When the bass drops.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Beauty and the Dad Bod podcast. This is episode 3. I am just so happy to have you here. I don't know about Josh. I'm pretty sure he hates everyone, and like me included, and all of you, but
everybody can suck it.
But we are happy to be back. Josh, how have you been? I've missed you so much.
It's been great. I know you were on a bender there with your friends at a wedding or something. I saw that sounded like it was fun.
I was in Asheville for my soon-to-be sister-in-law's not bridal shower. Oh my God, her bachelorette weekend. Yeah, it was very, very fun. It was great.
What debauchery did you get up to? Tell me the most memorable. Well, you probably can't remember the most memorable thing, but the thing you can remember the most.
I did not vomit at all. I'm very proud of myself. I texted Tony when I was on my way home. I was like, babe, everyone is struggling. I was like, I'm pretty sure everyone threw up. I did not at all. I was responsible, but I did have a lot of fun. The most memorable thing was our friend, I'm not going to say her name, but our friend came up to me at this bar that we were at, and she comes up to me and she's holding a weed pen, and she says, Chelsea, I stole this from someone. I don't know how I got it. And I said, you just said how you got it. You stole it. And she goes, I've been smoking this for an hour, and and she said, I thought that this was tobacco, but I can't feel my face. And I said, no, girl, that's weed. And she said, oh, no, I do the weed now. It was my favorite thing ever. She was being hilarious. And then I kept sending my husband text of quoting her. And one of my favorite ones that she said, let me find it real quick. And I read it the next morning, and all of us were dying laughing. Like, it was I
do the weed.
It was, oh my God, it was my favorite thing in the world. So she messaged, or I messaged Tony, and I said, and this is a quote from our friend. It says, help, I'm scared and tired. Carly disappeared, who is my sister. All she did is move seats in the van that we were in, and our friend was terrified. She's like, oh my God, she evaporated. And then she said, I hate it here. I do the weed now. I can't believe it. And
so much inner turmoil. Yeah. There's so much going on in her head. She's just struggling with life.
And all Tony said was, LOL, oh my God, is she okay?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
What did I do? I did work. I worked while you're out partying. I work my ass off. I did buy the kids and I some scooters, electric scooters. If you've never been on one of those, they're so much fun. I found a guy in Toronto that sells them for like half price. So I went and bought one because I wanted one to have my Tesla. So whenever I charge, I go to Ottawa a lot, which is a 6-hour drive from me. So I have to charge twice. And at those 2 charging stops, usually I watch Netflix or whatever, because the car has it all. It's really all connected. But I bought an electric scooter, so I just pop it out and I go for a rip for like 20 minutes while I let the car. It's really fun. It's really relaxing.
That's awesome.
It's like those scooters you can rent downtown cities, right?
Yeah, no,
Lime scooters.
Yeah, we have those. The bird ones or whatever the other ones are called. Yeah.
So it's just like that, but I got mine. So then I bought a bunch more, and then the kids and I, my wife hates it when we say let's go for a rip. She hates us saying it.
I don't like it either. I'm with Kathy. That's gross.
It's so dumb. But now my daughter's just like, she thinks that's how you say it. She's like, Daddy, can we go for a rip?
Oh
and my wife just like
Everly.
Rolls her eyes. It's so funny. Yeah, she loves going for rips now. So that's what we do.
That's my favorite.
It's fun, but I mean. I'm going to Blue Jays on the Thursday with Tom this week. I'm very excited. Blue Jays it's on the cusp. Like, I know you guys have Tampa Bay and they're killing it, and they might even win the whole thing this year. But I'm loving life right now. It's busy but fun.
I hope that we do. I hope we get the trifecta, because
you're not gonna. No, it's not gonna.
First of all, baby,
not gonna win the AL East.
No. First of all, with the Lightning, we've been going back to back.
That's true. That's weird.
It's amazing.
I'm so surprised that Florida is winning Stanley Cups. There's no It's not Canadian. That's the thing. It's just not. It's inappropriate. Is what I'm going to say there. It's just. I don't like it.
It's amazing, and I love it, and I love our boys so much. They are so much fun, and just the best. I have drank quite a bit of Bud Light out of the Stanley Cup.
I've also met the Stanley Cup, so we both have met the Stanley Cup.
Did you drink out of it? Oh, wait, you don't drink.
I did not get to drink out of it, but the Boston Bruins won. I forget how many years ago it was. I knew. Okay, so here's a lot. Here's my flex. The most famous person I think I know is Mike Fisher, who's married to Carrie Underwood. Yeah. Okay, been to his cabin. He's a really super cool dude. And Mike Fisher connected me with, what is his name? I'm gonna forget his name. Because he was on the Boston Bruins when they won the year. Mike's like, hey, my buddy takes photos. Why don't you hire him to come to your party? And I got to go photograph the party and see the Stanley Cup up close. It was amazing. It travels with security.
Oh, no, I know.
There's two guys that like always have their eye on it. And imagine the amount of the debauchery that those guys have seen in their lifetime.
Yeah, well, so they don't always have those specific people with it constantly. And when they did their little like tour with it, because I don't know if probably a lot of people don't know this, but when a team wins the Stanley Cup, every player gets like a day with it. And so, and it's really cute. Like some people like take it to like their kids' school and like, it's really adorable. And the guys, the Lightning, the team, that's just how cool I am. I call them the guys.
The guys.
My boys.
The guys.
My boys.
The dads.
So on a Friday night, they went to Eddie V's, which is a nice restaurant here. And then the next night, they went to Burns Steakhouse, again, another restaurant here that's really nice. And then they went to the Sunday, they went to another really nice restaurant. Well, Tony was working private security for them on that Friday night.
Oh, nice.
And then they called the GM and they were like, hey, at the next one, they were like, hey, we need someone to come. So she was like, oh shit, like I don't have just someone on standby. So then she called the GM from the night before and she's like, hey, who do you have? And he's like, I'll call him right now. So Tony was with them 3 nights in a row.
Oh, that's cool.
And one of them got lost and like left by the party bus that they were on. So Tony had to put him in the back of his cop car and pull over the party bus
to put him on the party bus.
And him and Tony were dying laughing and like we're taking pictures.
That's great.
They love him and now he's like their go-to. It's hilarious.
I love it. I love that. I love the relationships. Again, I don't know a lot of famous people, but Mike Fisher, he's just one of those guys that if you didn't know, like you don't know he's famous, and he lives pretty frugally. Really cool dude. He just loves country hunting, and he's married to like the hottest country star.
Oh, for sure.
So good for him.
Yeah, that's how I feel like it is with most hockey players. Or I mean, they're great. I love them. They're awesome. But yes, the Rays and the Bucks are both going to win this year. Anyways, Josh, what is our main topic today? And then I know we have some segments to go through, but what's our main topic today?
Yeah, we're going to cover this dilemma with covering true crime. I like to call it real crime, and I got people were making fun of me in my live last night about this. I'm covering the Gabby Petito case, and now we're looking for Brian, and Dog the Bounty Hunter's on it, and everything's getting crazy. This kid is on the run or unalive. We don't know, but we're going to talk about the dilemma of covering it when you've never covered it, or what happens when you do, and is it exploitation? To what point is it? To what point is it not? Is it important? And we're gonna talk about it. I think we're gonna disagree on a couple things, but I think I'm gonna have a good point for you, and you're gonna be like, you know what, Josh, you're right. And then when I do that thing, I want to hear you say it. Are you?
I'm sorry. Are you talking to me, or are you talking to the viewer?
No, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you.
Well, I have covered quite a bit of true crime on my channel as well. I absolutely love true crime.
Real crime. It's real crime. We're going to call it real crime from now on.
We are absolutely not.
If we think about this, if we TM the moniker, man, we got that. That's us.
No, it's weird. It's like when you say, "Let's go for a rip." No one says that. No one. You're showing your age, and
that's true.
Even on the Patreon, I don't know if you saw it. I posted like 2 things today on there. The Discord link and like a poll or something. And on the Discord link post, I even said, I was like, listen, Grandpa Josh doesn't know how to use it too much, but I'll teach him.
I am pretty old when it comes to Discord. I just got to learn it and then I'm good. I'm pretty good with technology.
You'll be a pro
I'd like to consider myself it. I will be. All right, let's get to the topic, because the other segments we'll talk about after. Okay. This is an important topic. So recently, I obviously know I've been covering Gabby Petito case. Last night, I've never seen something like this. I had over 6,700 people in the chat. That's the biggest chat I've ever had on anything I've ever done, even more than Micah, more than covering when Shannon Rose and, Love Men, Bits of Bish went after me for what she said. Even that had 2,000 and I was surprised. So the numbers are there, right? And the dilemma that I'm coming up with is I've got people that I trust who are messaging me, not a lot, that are saying, I know one specific creator that's probably going to do a video about me today about how that I'm exploiting the situation, right? And I've got the dilemma to contend with, right? And so the argument I think is made is that you're just covering this because it gives you clout, right? Is that the argument? And if that's the argument, okay, right? So is it true, right? Am I just covering it for the clout? And no, the answer is no.
No, you care.
Because, I do honestly care. And I do think that most people who do cover true crime aren't doing it for the clout of it. But hear me out. In this specific case, okay, I have not done any true crime up till now. Now I realize that I enjoy it and people tend to like the way that I cover it. And it's more like a crowdsourcing. And I reached out to my buddy Annie from 10 to Life, who's amazing. Go subscribe to her. And I said, look, am I doing this wrong, Annie? Because I'm getting, my standard haters who it's going to, no matter what I do, they're going to hate me. I mean, I could go to save a kid's life from, jumping off a building, like, oh my gosh, it's anti-choice. They would find anything wrong with what I do. But even somebody that I do trust is saying, I don't like what he's doing. So I'm like, I'm taking a pause and I'm saying,
which is very important.
Am I? And I have to. I'm like, am I doing this wrong? But for the most part, I've had almost 99.9% people say, no, you're doing it.
Yes.
My friend Annie, she gave me some good advice. She's just like, look, you're doing it differently because you are crowdsourcing the theories and information. When you're doing these live chats, you're popping up someone who has something to say, we debunk it or we dig deeper, right? And not a lot of people do that, and I think that's really cool.
Yes. But also you do say though, and I have watched quite a bit of your live streams about it, you do specifically say, guys, these are just theories, we don't know if this is true or that is true, we're just having a conversation. And I think that's one thing that people really do, love that you're doing that. However, there have been people who are, there was this, I think she was like another influencer or something on Instagram. She doesn't live here. And not saying you can't talk about it if you don't live, in Florida, but she was saying, she's like, oh, and their lawyer has a pool company, I guess, that like he owns or he has under another LLC or something, whatever. And she's like, oh, and it's New York based, and he took everyone like fishing, and that place where the fishing charter, like where the boat goes out of, is right next to Fort DeSoto. And it's like, well, yeah, everything in the Bay Area is going to be right next to Fort DeSoto. And if it's it was just frustrating. And then she even said in a few Instagram stories later, she's like, guys, if I'm like wrong about something, she's like, I don't know what I'm talking about, so if I'm wrong, tell me. So I think as long as you have like those disclaimers and you're not going for something so hard and trying to make a conspiracy or a thought or an opinion the truth, because that's where, as many people say, that's when this stuff gets off the rails. What kitty cat am I hearing right now?
Oh, that's Roni.
Oh,
Macaroni's
hello, Roni.
Hey, Roni, come here. Yeah, he's just chilling on a piece of paper. But so here's what I'm thinking too, and I said this last night in the chat. I said, look, maybe in a lot of the things that I say, people are like, well, this is a really serious matter, obviously, and you joke around a lot. And you know what, though? That's how I cope with difficult situations, and a lot of people do.
With your trauma.
All I'm saying is that, I'm saying that if I found something that I can pivot to, and I'm never going to stop talking about family vloggers, exploitation of kids, this is a natural, if you think about it, this is kind of a natural progression into justice. It's honestly, it's just about justice and about how do we get this for people. Yeah. And am I capitalizing on it? Am I growing because of it? Yeah,
but it's not a cash grab.
Roni, he's playing with Lego.
But it's not a cash grab, and there is a clear difference. But also, there's podcasts like, and you're completely right, first of all, with true crime or real crime, as some sociopaths say, what you talk about, the unethical aspects of it, the exposing aspects, the, falling down the rabbit hole, that's what your content is. That's what my content is. And people who like this type of stuff typically always love true crime as well. And there's different types of true crime, like the podcast Murderish, which is one of my favorite ones. She goes, first of all, her voice is so, it's like fucking butter, and I love it. And I just want to take, it's like not like Anthony Hopkins, because he has the best butter voice that I just want to take a bath in, but it's so good. And she goes from the very beginning of everything to the very end of the trial to like where it is now. And it's
love that
facts.
stuff.
It's beautiful. The story is told beautifully. And then there's, My Favorite Murder and other types of, a true crime comedy podcast. And they even say in their live shows, they're like, guys, listen, this is a true crime comedy podcast. We laugh when we are uncomfortable. We use humor to deal with our trauma, as do many people. And if you are uncomfortable with that, then get the fuck out. Like, they literally say that.
Well, that's basically what I said last night.
Yeah.
I said, look, I don't say get the F out. I'm like, this might not be for you. I want to make sure people like, hey, I do deal with things in a different way. And apparently like it. People tend to like it. So this is us. This is, again, what creators struggle with. We talk about this a lot, is the struggling with the 10% who don't like you, or 5%. And those can be amplified, because anything negative that you hear about yourself is amplified than anything positive, right?
Yeah, it is.
Right? And so here's my take on this whole case with the Gabby Petito thing, though. Look, I don't care if Dog the Bounty Hunter is using this to gain platform, whatever the case may be, or I don't care if Jeffree Star comes on and talks about it. I don't give a shit. I hope everybody uses it to build their channel, because this is why. Without the virality of this story going to the depths it did, I guarantee you, she's still stuck up there where she was left.
Exactly.
Okay, so imagine this doesn't go viral. Okay? Imagine nobody really picked it up. Okay, Brian comes home on the 1st. Right? Nobody knows anything. Maybe the cops are looking. He's going to clam up like he did. If this did not go viral, that RV family vlogger who said, oh my goodness, we were there, let me go check my footage. If this didn't go viral, they don't check that footage. Right? If this didn't go viral, those two people that picked him up hitchhiking, they don't make it known. If this doesn't go viral, the girl in the restaurant doesn't say, because she's a TikToker and wants to, I'm good for you. Do it. Again, if the byproduct of finding this dirtbag and finding her body and getting justice is that people gain clout and everything, so be it. That's just the way it is. That means your voice gets louder. And here's the other thing about being a creator. Everybody who hates you or wants to say something negative always comes back to this thing. Well, you make money. Well, yeah.
This is my job, so of course.
It's a byproduct of it's a byproduct of growing. YouTube will not allow you to grow without you making money, because that's what they do. They make money off of me and you. They make, what is it, 30%?
They make more money than we do. We get a tiny percentage.
They make way more off that commercial that gets played than we do. And in order to get bigger, unfortunately, it's a lie. Fortunately, we also have to make money. Yeah. Your voice doesn't get bigger, and as your voice gets bigger, you make more money. And that's just the way it is. If you don't, again, your social media currency is everything. If you don't like the way someone is doing something, all you have to do, unsubscribe, don't watch. Yeah. Just stop watching it. Yeah. I just can't, and we're going to do a hater stay mad thing after this. We're going to talk a little bit about that type of thing, where people who hate you and want to see you demolished and diminished, they're the ones who watch you the most. They are actually your biggest supporters. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. So, real crime. Again, I'm going to go back to that. This case, I think she's not found without the virality. Yes. And I think her parents in the end, and I think her dad did say this. He's like, I appreciate
he did.
Outpouring. And he did. And he'd say, and you know what? And so all these people who are coming after me and other creators for jumping on the quote unquote bandwagon, oh well, you have to admit this case isn't solved without people like us doing this. And
it brings more awareness to other people who have gone missing, especially Indigenous people, Indigenous women specifically. And sorry, I'm screaming. I get really passionate about Indigenous people, because it's frustrating, because a lot of people don't understand. One, I think everyone should know the stolen land that you're living on, what tribe it actually, group and community of people that actually belonged or belongs to, whatever your stance is. But not to go off on that tangent, but so many Indigenous women go missing in Yellowstone, in that area, in those parks, and it's insane. And I didn't know that until this case, and it's bringing around this conversation of, a fuck ton of people go missing. And I don't want to say like, oh, well, she only got, this type of, media coverage because she's, a cute white woman. There is an aspect of that, but also she was a huge influencer. She had over 700,000 Instagram followers.
Chelsea, she had 100,000.
Oh, and it's gone up that much since then.
Yeah.
Ew, I don't like that. I'm not following hers, because I don't know. I just feel like it's weird.
But you're right. You're right. This is okay. This is why this case has gone. And again, a lot of people are going to use it, and I'm going to talk about this for a second because this is actually kind of. I'm going to have an opinion on this. Okay, look, if you want to go to my blood, I'm an indigenous person.
You are.
My
Your
great grandfather is
on your mom's side, right?
My mother is half Native and half Jamaican, and my grandfather was a Native chief. Like I've just done the whole. It's amazing.
Yeah.
We've got a great story, a lot of history, a lot of really rich Native history in my family, and I do believe that. Yeah, the missing Indigenous kids, the ones that were killed at the schools in Canada. It's just maybe we'll cover it another day. But you're right. This, if anything, a byproduct is people are like, okay, yeah, and I will do that too. I will cover that.
Yeah.
But for those like CNN and MSNBC and Fox News, and everybody who's coming out and the Twitter blue check marks who are saying, oh yeah, this doesn't get covered over here, and again, so where were you when that shit went down?
Exactly.
Where's your coverage of that story?
Yes.
So don't come at me and don't come at people for that. Use the platform to say, let's bring attention, and that's great, but don't shift blame when I don't see you covering it at all either.
Yeah.
CNN is one of the most guilty parties, and they're the ones who are the most hypocritical on this. CNN is the most hypocritical news channel. I don't care what anybody says. I like MSNBC more than I like CNN, but they're the super hypocrites. And they're sitting there with somebody on their platform saying, why isn't this being covered? And they're like, you're right. Why? I'm like, well, then why don't we go back to your archives and see if you covered it? Because they haven't. Yeah. They haven't covered it. And so all these people who are out here virtue signaling that, well, why don't you do this? Well, why don't you do it? Like, you can do it too, especially the blue check marks who have big audiences. Yeah. They can do it too.
Well, exactly.
But I get it.
Yeah. And that's to go back on, oh, well, now people are talking about this and that. And even like we just said, it does bring a lot of awareness to it. I mean, every single podcast that I listened to over the past, I just got caught up on a bunch of them, like even the Tiny Meat Gang, Cody Cohen, Noel Miller. It's a comedy podcast, and they have talked about it, and it makes me so happy that they even talked about it. Manny MUA and Laura Lee, full coverage, because they say it's spelled FOOL because we're fools covering things. They're amazing. But they even said, like in their last one that they posted on, I think Thursday or Friday, they covered it too, just like a little bit of it, and that's amazing. My Favorite Murder, they talked about it too. Like it gets more people not only knowing about it, thinking about it, telling others, but that is how he is found. And like it or not, this puts pressure on law enforcement to do their job. Yes. Because think about this. If this doesn't go as viral as it does, how many people have gone missing? I think it's something like 600,000 a year go missing in the U.S. Now, if this case, if any of those cases got the same virality, more of them are going to be solved. For sure they are. And this definitely puts pressure on law enforcement to do their job. But here it is. Here's the statement of this whole thing. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which side you sit on, this is the future of catching bad guys. Yeah. It is. Look at Don't F with Cats on Netflix. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Yeah. But that's when they caught, what's his name? Crazy guy from Canada. Yeah. What's his name? That one is... There's also another aspect of that, too, is that there are people who... Like in the one where the girl was like in the water tank on the top of the hotel, that one, the internet sleuths went after this one guy who wasn't even there the same year that girl was there. And just because he like did cosplay and like had, played a character and, did music, and he had like a whole like Rob Zombie vibe, and they even interviewed him in a documentary about it, and they were like, he's like, yeah, they ruined my life. He's like, I tried to kill myself because they doxed him, and they like, they knew, I'm using air quotes, they knew and were sure they had convicted him, basically. Like, yeah,
he was convicted in the court of social justice.
It's crazy, and he had nothing to do with that. And it turns out that she had been off of her medication, and her psychological hiccups, as I like to say, had gotten worse and worse. And around that age that she is at, not most, but a lot of people do know and can agree with me that when you're 19 to like 25, that's when in women, schizophrenia, bipolar, anxiety, all of that heightens and gets worse. And then also you're actually able to diagnose schizophrenia, and it looks like that's what she was having, is delusions, and it was crazy. Yeah. But yeah.
So yeah, the other side of this is that the people who are convinced, again, Brian Laundrie, for all we know, could be completely innocent. And nobody wants to say that. And I don't even want to say that, but it could have been an accidental, but again, we don't know what we don't know, but I mean, there's no other prime people in this case. So that's why this case has gotten so much attention, because she's not only an influencer, but this is such a different case because we know the dude that left, and the circumstances are so weird that's why this has gotten the attention it's gotten. These other people that have been missing, and maybe we should dive into a couple of them and find out the parameters and what happened. But I guarantee it's gonna be nothing like this. And if there's a main guy, I'm sure that would get more attention. But a lot of them just go missing, and then it's a hidden. Yeah, they don't know anything. Exactly, that's the thing.
Because we have more available to us since she wasn't. It sounds sad saying was
exactly.
Since she was an influencer, since we know a bunch more. There's all of these little puzzle pieces, and with all these other ones, we don't have that because they aren't public figures. Also, with Dog the Bounty Hunter, I don't know if you could get more Florida than Dog the Bounty Hunter coming in, and that's amazing. But also, one thing I will say is a lot of people are like making fun of it, and they're like, oh my gosh, if local police couldn't find him, if the FBI couldn't find him, and then fucking Dog the Bounty Hunter comes and finds him.
Oh yeah.
And listen, I have a lot of people say this to me, and that they do love that, me and Tony are the first people to be like, that was shitty police work. And we say that, and my husband even says that as well. Again, not a opinion of the department he works for. Not that it's that one, but still, I always want to say that. But with that, I think it's important to remember as well is that I can't even believe it. Does he have an actual name? I feel so awkward calling him
Macaroni?
Fucking Dog. No, not your cat.
Oh, Gus?
No, not Gus. The bounty hunter. His name is Dog.
Oh, Dog the Bounty Hunter. Yeah, it's Dwayne, I think.
That's worse. No, so with this guy, I don't think people realize that it's kind of great because he can operate outside of the law, if that makes sense.
He can sort of like within the outside of the law. He can. He's more. And this is what I said last night on the talk. I said police are a government organization who are locked into bureaucracy a lot of the times and are handcuffed by what they can actually do. And so when they're spending $1.8 million looking in this place where the alligators are and he's not there, it's really difficult for them to like just turn tail and go somewhere else. It's bureaucracy. It's I have to get this approved. I need these things. This is signed off on. Whereas Dog the Bounty Hunter can just take his crazy hair and just like float over somewhere else and go find the guy if he wants. He is not locked into the same bureaucracy as the government here.
Exactly.
But all that to say, go for it. If you guys think you can grow your channel on this and bring somebody to justice, go for it. I'm all for it. Without
going, and I'm sorry for not phrasing this in a more eloquent way, but without being a fucking dirtbag. Don't be like these mediums and these psychics. Believe in whatever you want to believe in. That's fine. I wasn't even high when I said this weekend. I was like, guys, the ghost of the fucking house that we're living in, because we stayed in a friend's house, and his like wife built it. Like we always say, like, oh no, like that's Charlotte's house. She was such an amazing human. We love her so much. R.I.P. Charlotte. And I was sleeping in their bedroom, and obviously they were not there, and I was in the master bedroom by my fucking self, and the door kept opening and closing by itself. I sent a video to them. I still have it. I will put that on our Instagram when this goes up. It was fucking terrifying. And my sister-in-law's stepsister opens the door, and she comes in, and she's like, so you weren't fucking around, there's a ghost in here. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, all right, have fun with that, goodbye. And I even said, I was like, guys, I couldn't find the remote to the ceiling fan. And then Charlotte told me, like, come on, you really think he's going to have the ceiling fan remote on his side of the bed? Like, no, it's on my side of the bed. And of course that was, just me thinking to myself, like, Bill's not going to have it over there. Charlotte's going to have it because she probably is the one who got cold. So I opened it up and there it was. And I was like, thank you, Ghost of Charlotte. But
if there's a Ghost of Charlotte, I'm peacing out of that place. See ya. No thanks.
She's not a ghost, she's a spirit. But I believe like in certain little things like that. I obviously like I believe my Nana is constantly looking down on me. But there's also I've seen videos of people coming on TikTok or Instagram or wherever the fuck, whatever social media platform, and being like, oh yeah, I talked to Gabby and he didn't mean to kill her. And I'm like,
don't ever say shit like that.
And I'm like, bitch, I'll kill you for legal purposes. That's a joke. But it's just so frustrating. Like, what are you?
Don't do that, because that's
exploiting it.
That is exploiting, and it's also
false hope.
It's false hoping to the parents, and like, and some people who believe that will do that, and they'll go and that medium shit just got to stop. At least on my channel, if someone says something stupid, I'm like, nah, that's stupid. Like people keep trying to tie it back to the 2 murders of the ladies that were killed out there, the married couple, and again, it's been debunked, but they keep saying it, or they'll say something about Rose, or they'll say something crazy like, I think he's in the Church of Scientology, and they have no backup. No. They have no say. There's nothing that ever. And I always will ask, where did you get that information you just told me? Because if someone said last night, I forget what it was, they said something like, police tracker says he's over here. I'm like, where are you getting that? And then if they don't respond, I'm like, I just assume they're just throwing some shit in the chat.
And that's like someone, and I want to talk about the Rose person, but the girl that I had mentioned before, I can't remember her name, but I looked on her Instagram. I was going through her Instagram stories at like fucking 5 a.m. because I'm a psycho. And I was looking at it, and she had said, like, she was talking about Fort DeSoto Park because allegedly the mom and dad like checked into the park, and they write down the license plate and everything. Like, it's like a lot of parks do.
There's cameras.
Yeah. They see how many people are in the car or whatever. They need to keep track of everything. And it said that 3 people came in and 2 people left. So on the 8th, on September 8th. Yeah, so that's where people are like thinking that he is. First of all, Fort DeSoto Park is one of my favorite fucking places to go by boat. It
looks nice.
By boat. Oh my god, Josh. Okay, so next time you come, we're having a boat day. It's going to be fabulous. I'm going to get I'm just going to stay sober the whole time. No, it's going to be amazing. And Fort DeSoto is one of my absolute favorite places. It's so beautiful. And on the actual like island, I guess, it is really beautiful too. And there's like bathrooms and stuff, but there's like, it's a fucking park. Like there's
no way he's there. That thing is not that big. You can walk across the park in probably 30 minutes.
No. It is bigger than you think. There's like wilderness on it and shit. So he could.
That's what she said.
Shave your bush. And then
that's the visual inch.
Yeah. So it was just annoying because she was saying like certain things, and she's like, oh well, like, because she assumed from like the picture people were showing her of Fort DeSoto, she's like, oh well, it's small. And I was like, no, it's not small. Like, people camp there. Like, it's pretty big and it's gorgeous. And she's like, oh well, what if his parents were keeping a boat there? I was like, you can't keep a boat there. There's no marina.
Yeah, we checked. There's no marina.
There's no... Bitch, I know. There's no... I would keep I'd buy a boat and keep it there. It's gorgeous. There's no marina. There's really no dock. Like, you pull up your boat and you anchor and you jump off the roof of your boat. Like, that's what you do. Roof of your boat. What, Chelsea? So... that was just annoying. And then other people... She was sharing DMs that people sent her, like, yeah, what? Like, what? Like... in that area, like, St. Pete's the main attraction. And I responded back. I was like, this person doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Yeah. Like, the city of St. Pete is like, no, like, stop sharing this misinformation. Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
That's the thing. A lot of people are putting across these theories as they are information.
Yeah.
I'm just saying in my chat, I'm like, hey, if you got proof for it, let's hear it. We know what we know definitively, and the things that we don't know definitively, that's just theories until they're proven, right? That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, and you do say that constantly in your live streams that I've watched, and that's good. I like that. And also, so that girl also said something about, like, a girl named Rose, I guess, who was friends with Brian, who got, like, a matching tattoo that Gabby had, like, in memory of her. And this girl...
don't do that.
And, yeah, right. Well, and this girl on Instagram even said, and I agree with her on this part, it was kind of funny. She was like, I don't really want to talk about that girl too much because she's giving me, like... like single white female vibes, and it seems like she was like obsessed with Brian and like friends with him, and Brian only allegedly like let Gabby be friends with that girl, I guess, and he was very controlling and
weird.
Yeah. So what, do you know anything about that, the Rose girl?
I might go down the path, but I don't. Last night I mentioned this too. I almost want to, like, we know what happened to Gabby. Now it's about justice for Gabby. Going back and rehashing anything, it's not going to change. The only thing we really need to know is how, and we might learn that today, because that will go towards justice. At this point, the past doesn't matter anymore as far as Gabby's concerned, because let her rest in peace. As far as as far as we can. But as far as it's for justice for catching him now, the only time we need to go back and discuss it if it's going to help find him.
Yes, I completely agree. Let me ask this: why? Well, actually, I'm already answering my own question. But do you think that with how you and I both use, comedy and have it be more of like a conversation, do you think that makes the genre of true crime more digestible for people?
Yeah, depending on how you deal with that type of topic. For me, making light of things or making a comedic gesture or saying something on the side as a snide remark or whatever, like making fun of Brian, like I wrote douche across his mask yesterday and that kind of stuff. Like that stuff to me, I think humanizes it and makes it more digestible. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's serious, of course, but some people, I would say not everybody, but a large swath of the population deals with trauma in a different way. Using comedy allows you to kind of like, it's almost like a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Right? You're talking about something so dark and whatever, and then all of a sudden throw a joke out there. Just let people relax for a second, because this stuff can compound and it can really, really sit with you. And it can really, so if you let it just take a breather, have a joke, talk about something else for 5 minutes, I almost feel that as a palate cleanser. And I think that's important when we're talking about crime. And maybe that's missing, because I used to listen to Sword and Scale, and I love that podcast. But when you start listening to the dirty stuff that goes on in some of those crimes, you cannot unsee that shit. Yes. And it's all dark with the ominous music, and it's great because it's entertaining, but man, that stuff sits with you. So that's why I deal with the humor. People tend to like it. And again, if I have 6,500 people in the chat, something is going right there. So we're doing something that people like.
Yes. I mean, that's one thing why I like to do and I haven't done a true crime video in a bit. One of the ones that I loved so much got deleted by YouTube.
Why?
Because I was calling my series Wine and Crime, and before, like, I didn't know that there was a podcast called that. And someone had said, they're like, you're just stealing everything from them. And I'm like, I'm not. I was like, I'm drinking wine while I tell you a story. Like, we're sitting on a couch and I'm just telling you this creepy ass story I learned about. And I had put in the title of it, like, Wine and Crime. And then I guess that podcast had my video taken down for copyright infringement. I was really? I would have
fought that shit. I
couldn't, because they didn't send me the email like they usually do. They just completely took it down, and it was a sponsored video. And I was and thank God, Good Clean Wine they're the fucking best, and they understood how, like, sad and frustrated I was. But yeah, and it took me so long, because those videos where you are talking the entire fucking time and you have like a script to go through, those take hours and hours to edit, because it's not broken up by I'm reacting to this or I'm showing you this, so it takes fucking forever. And my lighting was so cool, and oh my god, it looked so good, and I was so
just
mad.
Keep doing it, redo that video, and then just call it something else. But yeah, it's
a bunch of my subscribers were like, oh my god, we're so sad. They're like, hey, how about call it CC Mystery? And I was like, bitch, yes, like, I'll do that. So I'll redo it, because that was one of my absolute favorite stories, one of my favorite true crime stories. It's the story of John List, who was a family annihilator. He killed his 3 kids and his wife and his mother. And it was insane. And then he went on the run for 30 years, I believe.
30 years.
And guess how he was found?
How?
The show America's Most Wanted.
Right, and guys, and that's just so. This is a tale as old as time. This is a tale as old as time.
It's a song as old as rhyme. It's Beauty and the Dad Bot.
Yeah, think about that for a second. So it's just it's just evolved into the internet.
Yes.
But before, those shows were doing the same damn
Exactly.
thing. So anyway, we gotta move on, Chelsea. We gotta get on to the next stuff because I gotta get going soon.
Okay.
All right, what's next?
So a segment that we're doing today is what are you watching? I personally love this because I'm a big binge watcher. But Josh, you go first. You are way too excited. What are you watching?
So I came on to Clickbait on Netflix, and during this whole Gabby Petito thing too, I've been watching Clickbait. If you have not seen Clickbait, everybody, yep. Okay, so here's the premise. I won't give too much away, but basically this guy, there's a viral video that comes out of him holding up signs that says, "I'm a murderer. If this hits 5 million views, I'm going to die." Right? And he's like, it's like a kidnapping thing. And then there's, I think it's 7 episodes that goes through the entire case. And I'm not giving it away, but OMG, go watch Clickbait.
Okay.
It's so well done. Like even just on the cinematography, on the sparkle of it, like the shine, the way that they put it together. It's so well done.
The way it sparkles and shines?
It's crisp. If there's a word, it's crisp.
Okay.
Right? And it goes through, you think you know until the end and you don't know shit.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Okay.
So that's what I'm watching. Everybody make sure you go watch Clickbait. It's so good.
I like that. Okay.
What are you watching?
Oh my God. I am obsessed with Murders in the Building.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Or is it only Murders in the Building? Whatever. It's so good. It's on Hulu, and it's with Selena Gomez and and Steve Martin and Martin Short. And I love them two more than I love Selena Gomez, and it is so fucking good. And it's about, so they all three live in this like the Arcadia. It's this very nice condo complex in New York. It's very old. It's beautiful, and and it goes like kind of through all three of their like lives, gives you a little bit of a backstory like as you go on. But there is a murder in the building, and them three like are obsessed with it, and they don't realize that they've been listening to like the same podcast, and it's so fucking cute. So they like become friends, and then this murder happens, and then they are like, oh my God, we should start a podcast where we like try to solve this. And now like where it is now, they like have their own sponsor, and now they're like getting it going, and it's just so fucking good.
Oh, I'm watching it. I'm gonna watch it.
So good.
I love Steve Martin and Martin Short. Those guys are OG. I love them.
So you have like 5 episodes, I think, that you get to catch up on now, and the next episode's tonight. So
okay, I'm definitely down. I'm gonna watch that. Okay, everybody. Now it's time for everybody's favorite segment, Just the Tip, and it's not what you think, or it is. It is. But today's we're going to be doing advice, but it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to go on to our Reddit forums that we love. We're going to be going, I think you're going to go down dating advice. I'm going to go down relationship advice. And we're going to give you guys the advice you didn't know you wanted. And you do want it. So, just the tip. Let's go.
Okay, you go first.
I'll go first. This is the one I found. It says, my boyfriend says my pregnancy is torture for him. What do I do? Okay? And Chelsea doesn't know which one I'm going to read her, and I'm not going to know which one she's going to read me. So these are going to be our reactions. Okay, I just hit my 2nd trimester in my first pregnancy. My boyfriend is excited for our child, but it seems my new lack of libido is getting to him. You poor dude. Some women get hornier in pregnancy and others just become kind of disinterested. I, unfortunately, am the latter. It's 5:30 and he woke up and started, I think, hitting his head on the wall. I'm speculating. Only heard a light thudding and then he left the room shortly after. It's all I could think of him doing to get out of his frustrations. Was he hitting his head against the wall, or was he doing the old 5-knuckle shuffle? I asked him what was wrong, and he said my pregnancy is torture to him, that jerking off can only help for so long, and he's not sure if he wants to have any more kids after this, if it's going to be like this. Just a day or two ago, he was talking about how he wanted 3 kids, but I guess he's reached his limit. I feel really bad and kind of selfish too, since I ask so much of him. So I was wondering if there are ways to increase libido or something he doesn't even ask for much either, and I do miss having sex with him. I just don't know what to do in this situation. Any advice? Let me tell you that pregnant women are also very, 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 to me, super attractive, because they're like pheromones and hormones are exploding. And so men, I'm just saying, I'm not scientist or whatever, but men that are around, if you're around a pregnant woman, it's just different. it's different. The whole idea of the glowing thing that you hear, that's pure sex for I'm concerned. That's like the stuff that's like, yeah. So I had no issues with that. But my advice would be to be like, just have an open conversation with this guy. Because if you don't want to, you don't want to. But he, you know, you are married, and there is some, you just have to have a conversation. It's all come back to communication. Maybe there's something you can provide that he would enjoy, so that you can come to some kind of agreement or something. I don't know. I would just say you have to have a conversation about it. And in marriage, there is what's called compromise. Not when it comes to not getting consent or anything, but there is a way you might be able to have some fun. You can incorporate, buy him a toy, do something cool. Just go out of your way to do, because in marriage too, you sometimes often have to do this. You have to go out of your way to do something you might not want to do because you just aren't interested, because it makes them happy. And that could mean anything. Could mean buying, going somewhere you don't want to go. Going to, for me, going to see Cats was the shittiest thing I ever did. It was so bad. That show was so bad. I hated it, but I went for my wife, right? But if there's something your husband wants or your wife wants, you do it because you love them, right? So I mean, that's my advice. Just try something.
Do y'all really think that I want to be doing the dishes? No. Do you think I want to fold Tony's laundry? Absolutely fucking not. No, I don't like doing any of that. Do I do it because his love language is acts of service and it makes him feel loved? Unfortunately, yes.
If you guys can't see this, but her eyes rolled so far into the back of her head that I'm pretty sure they're in her ass right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna poop them out after this recording. That's
good point, Chelsea. Very good point.
Yeah, I mean, there's other ways to do it, and also there's sometimes when Tony's like, "Hey, I need some attention," and I'm like, "All right, well, I'm not in the mood, but you can get me in the mood." And then also, right, I mean, when you're pregnant, bitch, you did that to her. So you put
it's your fault, bruh.
You put her in this situation, so you kind of just gotta deal with it. It's not for forever. Go jack off. Calm down.
He did say that. He said, "Look, it's it sounds like he wants some closeness and all that stuff." And I'm gonna be on both of their side here a little bit, okay? It sounds like it's a planned pregnancy, and they're doing this together, and he's really excited about it. But in his defense, he remember he said, I've had my buddies, or I've heard that when women get pregnant, they're way more horny. And in my case, without my wife killing me, that was the case. So he hears right. But in this case, it just, the libido was flattened because of, she might be sick all the time. Yeah. But it's just, it's hit or miss. But again, I think there's a compromise that needs to be made here. Maybe he has to do something extra super spectacular special for her. Get her warmed up, man. Maybe you got to do something a little bit extra special to get her out of that funk.
If his love language is physical touch, I mean, that's what mine is too. And listen, sometimes I gotta tell Tony, like, hey, I am feeling not neglected, but like I need some attention, just like sometimes he tells me. And you gotta make your person feel loved. If that means I have to do the dishes, then I got to do that. If that means that Tony needs to snuggle me or fucking just hold my hand, then he has to do that. So,
yeah, I mean, but in this world, that's almost dangerous to say, Chelsea. It's almost dangerous to say something like the word compromise in a marriage, because a lot of people, because of the way that this world is right now, would say that's assault, or that's rape, or that's this and that, because they're saying if she doesn't want to do it, the end. That's a no. That's the final thing. And there is nuance to it. There has to be some kind of like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, you should never ever force somebody to do something. But some people would say that's coercion.
Well, then they can fuck right off, because that's absolutely not what this married woman is saying. What I'm saying is, obviously, like, there are many times where he's like, hey, want to? And I'm like, absolutely not. Get away from me. But then, and I'm obviously not that mean, but I'm just like, no. And then there's times where he's like, can you chill? Like, no, I'm busy. Like, I'm mowing the lawn or some shit.
I was like,
I'm not going to force him. No, but there are.
No, but in this conversation of this world, in this day and age, that conversation could be said to say, like, if he's trying to coerce you into doing something you don't want to do, a lot of people would say that's bad. But I don't. I just think that is part of the narrative that is maybe why these people are trying to be so careful with it. Specifically, these younger people.
And there's nothing wrong with being careful with that. That's preferred. But also, there's a difference between pushing someone to do something that they have no interest in doing, and then also kissing your wife's neck and touching the cooter a bit to get her warmed up, okay? Sometimes and also I'm definitely the kind of person where I'm like, oh my God, stop. And then he stops. I'm like, why'd you stop?
You didn't hear the nuance in that stop, mister.
Yeah.
Keep doing the thing.
I was giggling.
Okay. It was. I agree. So I think in this case, you're right. It's just look. I love the point you made. Do I do those things because I want to? No, it's because that's my husband's love language, or my wife's love language is touch and hugs and kisses and me doing the dishes and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's what you do. If that's, you know what, and there's no shame in that. There's no shame in gathering up the points, cashing those points in for a beach or whatever you need. I'm cool with it. That's married life. That's the way it is, everybody. And if it's as long as you guys are in communication, it should all be good.
Yes, communication is key. I have one that also has to do with communication, and also let me just go ahead and read this. So
read it. I want to read this.
So am I being immature for not wanting to date a girl I really like after I found out that one of my friends effed her? So I was talking to this girl for a while and I got to really liking her. We haven't been very physical, as she wants to wait until we're actually boyfriend and girlfriend before we go too far. Understandable. Mm-hmm. So she posted a picture with me to her Instagram story, and one of my friends ended up seeing it. Later that week, when we were hanging out, he mentioned it and asked about us. And I just said, we've just been hanging out a lot. I'm assuming that my friend thought I meant that we were just friends because he told me this, and I quote, me and her used to chill together. We hooked up a few times, and she's crazy in bed. And then the poster said, I, of course, didn't want to hear this, but now I have, and I don't really like her as much anymore. Am I being immature, or am I justified in not wanting anything to do with her anymore? So.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
So here is what I would like to say. First and foremost, either way, your conflicting feelings are valid. Second of all, I do think from a from a human perspective, just saying, oh, we've just been hanging out was a little dismissive, maybe. So I don't think that the friend meant any harm. I think it was just, friends talking, like, oh yeah,
I don't think it was doing a flex on him or anything.
No,
like that.
exactly. Like if one of my friends, posted a picture with someone I used to date, I obviously wouldn't be like, oh, he has anything about that, but I'd be like, oh hey, like we're like,
he has a really hairy butthole, just so you know.
Oh God, hopefully not. But yeah, I mean, you get it. I wouldn't say something like that, but of course different friendships are different filters, whatever. But I resonate with this because I do think it is a bit immature. Of course, I don't know how old this person is, because that has nothing to do with y'all's relationship. So for instance, everyone always asks how me and Tony met. We've been together for 11 and a half years. We've been married for 6 years now. And I always say, oh, we met through a mutual friend. I dated his best friend before I had even met Tony. And when I say dated, I mean we hung out a bunch of times. We went on like one actual date to see the movie Up, and he was weird. And I think we like actually did the do maybe like twice, but like we hung out, whatever. And I had never even met Tony the entire time. He always like talked about his best friend Tony, and I was like, "Are you
Tony's best friend's Tony?"
No, his name was Aaron.
Okay,
and I say was, he is no longer with us.
Okay,
it's very sad, but he had a lot of internal demons. But then I met Tony, and I actually met him on Facebook asking for Aaron's number because I had lost it. I did not have any ulterior motives. Tony did, apparently, because he even said to me later on, he's like, yeah, I saw your pictures, and he was like, I can't let Aaron have her. Like, I want this one. Like, I deserve her, because he thought I was too good for his friend. So
you deserve this.
Right?
Who's that guy that talks in the mirror? He's like, you are worth it.
You have worked so hard.
This is the girl for you, and don't ever settle.
You need this. So we had hung out a few times, and I had told him, I was like, are you going to tell Aaron? Like, I really like you. And we just clicked right away. And he knew that me and Aaron had hooked up, that we had talked and everything, and it never bothered him because, and we also like we're very open with each other about like how, you know, your past, yeah, like, but it's also like he was the first person who never cared about that. Tony doesn't know how many people he's had sex with. Also, neither do I. I don't fucking care, and I never have. And I always, that was another question that I was actually I was between this one and another one when someone was like, "Oh, am I immature for, you know, caring about how many girls this person's had sex with?" And it's like, as long as they're being safe, they've gotten tested, and they're not being reckless. Who the fuck cares? Like,
okay, this is great. This is such a cool. Okay, because hear this out. I'm in the complete opposite end spectrum.
I know, because you've
and this is great.
Done it with one person, Joshua.
No, so this is great. So we have two perspectives of this thing. I'm going to eliminate the idea of purity culture and shit that I grew up in. Okay, let's just take that out of the picture.
Perfect.
Even though that does have a huge role and plays a huge role into why I didn't have sex,
absolutely,
and why I didn't do any of those things. But imagine this. Now I'm going to be on his side to say that's your preference. If you don't want a girl who has, you know, done all those things, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
But if
you're right. If you're a hypocrite, then yes. I do believe that if you said yes, you'd be an effing hypocrite. But if let's take a dude who's never had sex, and his preference is to find a girl who also has never had sex, I see nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. But also that wasn't the question though. It was the more of like shaming someone for it, or having the like idea of like, oh well, you're used or dirty, and it's like first of all, bitch, that just means that she's going to be more experienced and it's going to be more fun.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't know, but yes. But so that's
you're like, yeah,
so
sure.
Yeah, totally. I get that. But imagine, so that's the thing. So right. So he's also done the deed. Then I think if the guy just didn't know, then he would have been fine with it.
Yeah.
And so that means he's selfish. If you think about that for a second.
Yes.
Imagine he just said if he didn't know that if the guy didn't say that thing, he would have liked this girl.
Yeah.
So it is that's bothering him.
Yes. And I do see it that was another thing I was going to bring up. You are completely right. So there's even, me and Tony are friends with like two of his exes, and he is even better friends with one of my ex-boyfriends, Hussein, who is hilarious. He's amazing, and we love him so much. And Tony and him like are like legit friends, and we even all went to dinner. And I leaned over to Tony because him and Hussein were like joking about something, and Hussein was just like, "Chelsea, shut up! Like I'm trying to talk to my boyfriend." It was great. And I leaned over to Tony and I was like, "Let me just tell you, like, babe, this is the fact that you are so mature and you don't care." Like, I was like, not gonna lie, it's turning me on.
When we get home.
I was like, you are so mature and just such a great like husband and man, and just like you're so secure, and I just love it so much. And that means so much to me, and that's so important because our relationship is what matters. I don't care what you did with this person back then. You're with me now. You're not going to go do anything with them because you're with me, and you don't want that. So I think it has a lot to do with insecurity.
Here's the dad vice. If this is happening. The dad vice is, do you like her? Yeah, I do. So why does it matter what she did?
Exactly.
If you like her, then you like who she is now. Who gives a shit what she did before? If you like her, clearly there's a reason you do. And until you found this out, all of a sudden that changed for you. You're the a-hole in this situation, and that's on you, bro. You got to figure that shit out.
Yeah, and I completely, absolutely, completely agree. Yes, your feelings are valid, but also it's very immature. And even the way the person worded this, am I justified in not wanting anything to do with her anymore? It's like, no,
he's a douche.
It's like, oh, so are you pure and perfect? No, you've probably had sex with one of her friends. Who cares?
Yeah, he probably has a sock under his bed that is like
stiff,
hard as this.
He can break it in half, candy. Anyway. So that is it for today's episode. Actually, I really hope y'all enjoyed everything that we talked about, that we mentioned. The shows, all that will be in the description box, the show notes, and also if you would like to join our Patreon, you will actually be getting an extra bonus episode, 2 extra bonus episodes per month. It's amazing. That is all linked in our link tree and also in the description box, show notes, all that as well.
And the first 100 people get a shirt. And here's my idea. I got a new idea.
Oh my God.
Let's do a live. Let's go live on StreamYard or whatever. Okay. And we will design the shirt together with those people on our Patreon and those who want to come hang out with us.
I appreciate that, and I love that, and I see it. I recognize it. Hell yes, let's do that. Also, there are already 26 patrons, and we love you so much, and we appreciate you, and that is freaking awesome. We might also do video for the bonus episode. We're not sure yet. So
okay. Should we release the podcast early to the Patreons?
I think we
Let's do that.
Yeah, we
Let's do
should.
That. They need all the good shit.
Yeah, they are amazing and I love them so much. Yeah, they're the best. So we appreciate y'all so much. Thank you. And make sure you are subscribing on YouTube and you are rating and reviewing. Even if you don't listen on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, anything like that, please do definitely rate and review just because we love you. And follow us on all of the social medias. And we appreciate you. And we'll see you next week or in the bonus episode.
Yeah, we'll see you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Where are your top teeth?
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to Beauty and the Dad Bod this week. Our mics were working. Make sure you head over to Patreon, all the social media platforms, follow us there, and leave a 5-star rating where you hear your podcast. That really helps us out. We love you, and we'll see you next week.